Hi everybody, Rick McAvoy here. This week on my YouTube channel I'm talking about the processing of an actual photo. Yes, on my photography blog I finally got round to putting a photo in, one of mine, and I have to say a rather splendid one, even if I do say so myself. So in this video, what am I talking about? I'll read the title. How did I create this photo of the stunning interior of Bordeaux Cathedral in Lightroom? Now, at least I gave the credit for the stunningness to the cathedral and not to my photography skills. I failed quite early there, haven't I? Disappointing. So yes, I'm going to tell you how I created this photo. Now, interestingly enough, well, last week's blog I told you how I took the photo. This week I'm going to tell you how I created the photo in Lightroom, hence the title. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I took this photo in 2015 on my Canon 6D. I edited it in 2015. Since then, my organisation has got a lot better in Lightroom. At the time of this, it wasn't, so it took me a while to work out which was the original image and everything. It was a bit of a mess, and that's why having your photos organised properly in Lightroom is so important. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that now. Let's get straight into the step. Well, in fact, one other thing, there's also a blog post, step-by-step guide to how to edit architecture photos, which tells you step by step from importing the photos, everything. So, but this is talking about what the work I did to this photo in Lightroom. Okay. Number one, well, when I import photos into Lightroom, I add preset developing stuff. It's called an import preset. There you go, that's better. I'm back into English now. So every photo I import, I apply some processing to it via an import preset. Sorry, I'll get my teeth back in and we'll get on with this. This is, it's mainly the basic panel. I've pushed the highlights up a bit, shadows, blacks, whites, contrast, things that I do to every image as a starting point. I do it automated now, so yeah, let's move on. So the three images that I took, yes, I took three images. It took me a while to work this out because I tend to do my photos using HDR bracketing, one for another time. If you want to see any of the images, of course, check out the blog post, rickmcavoyphotography.com. So yeah, three images. I do an HDR Merge, which in Lightroom is wonderfully simple. It really is. You just select the three images. The keyboard shortcut is Control-H. And there it goes, it does it all for you. And it even puts the new image on top of the other three in a nice stack, all filed together nicely. Wonderful stuff. This is one of the many reasons I use Lightroom, because it just works. Okay, so once I got the new DNG file, a new digital negative, that's the one I start work on. Now, the first thing I do is I do the crop. I also do the transform. The transform panel is the horizontals and verticals. See, when you do that, if you've got quite a big adjustment, it affects the crop anyway. So I start off with any image, I get the crop and the verticals and the horizontals. I work them together to give me what I want. But the set process is horizontals first, verticals next, and then see what I need to do with the crop. That gives me the final composition. What's the point spending time working on an image and then cropping some of it out later? I don't do that, it's a waste of time. I suggest you don't either. Okay, so I have quite a simple workflow. Once I've done those bits, I go into the basic panel and I just go down the sliders, and it's a visual thing. I've got a pretty good idea what the adjustments are going to be, but I always push the sliders a little bit more. You're not losing anything, you're just seeing more of an effect, and you can always back off. Also, well worth trying the auto buttons, because they can give you some really good results. There's one photo I took once where I did an auto white balance and an auto exposure in the basic panel, auto adjustment of the exposure should I say, and it was brilliant, and I didn't need to do any more, and I was very, very happy. So try auto. If you don't like it, undo it. It's dead simple. And like I say, Lightroom is a visual thing. It's non-destructive editing. What's non-destructive editing? Well, you can slide the exposure to +5 It might be 3 actually. Should I have a look? No, we'll do that another time. You can push it so bright it's ridiculous, and then you just move the slider back if you want to. And if you do lots and lots of things and you make a complete mess of it, hit reset, you're back where you began. You can do an edit, you can right click on it, create a virtual copy, and then do other stuff to that one, leaving the other one. Loads you can do. Am I digressing a little bit? Right, let's get back to the point. So, horizontal, vertical, crop, basic panel. Next, in fact, if you go to the blog post, you can see the numbers I've used for the image, which is on this thumbnail for this video. Next is the Hsl panel. I love the Hsl panel. Hue, saturation, luminance. You can adjust using the targeted adjustment tool, as in select the targeted adjustment tool, you can click on a colour and you can change its luminance. It's amazing and I love doing it. Very subtle, you might not notice I've done it, but when you do it right, it all adds to the image, gives it that next level of interest and quality. So, Hsl panel, always use that. It's luminance I use mainly. I might tweak the saturation down a bit, never increase it. I've never used the hue one, to be honest with you. Next thing I do is I use the tone curve panel. Tweak the tones. That's fine tuning of the global adjustments you've already done in the basic panel. Quite often I don't touch that panel either. Next I check the sharpening. I apply sharpening in the import preset. So it's a set number that's worked for me, but I always check it. I check it on the first image if I've got a big set of 30, because if it's alright for the first one, it's probably alright for the rest of them. Hey, life's too short, isn't it? Next one, I check the vignette in the effects panel. Don't tell anybody about this. The vignette darkens the edges. That's not working, is it? It darkens the corners and the edges, and it makes the middle a bit brighter. Guess what? The human eye is drawn to the brightest part of a photo. Don't make it the edges, because that means that the human eye is being taken away from the subject to what's on the edge. And if your subject matter's on the edge, you got your composition wrong. Then next thing is dodging and burning. Definitely one for another time. Dodging and burning is localized lightening and darkening. Dodging, lightening, burning, darkening. Now this goes back to the days of the darkroom, where you used to do these things with bits of card, either adding light or taking light away. Play around with it. What you're doing is very subtle, localized, making things brighter and making them darker. And you do that to certain parts of a photo, you can give the photo more depth and interest. Great tool, again, completely reversible, so don't worry about it. Other local adjustments. In fact, on the blog post for this, I do show you the areas that have been dodged and burned. This is, again, the beauty of Lightroom. I'm not a Lightroom salesman. I pay to use it, but it is so good to use. Last thing is other local adjustments, which in my case on this photo, there weren't any. That was it, it's done. So, that's how I edited this photo. Next week, I am going to do a new edit of the photo that I last edited in 2015. I need to forget everything that I've spoken about, all the settings and everything, start again from scratch, see what I come up with. Fortunately, in a couple of days I'll have forgotten everything anyway, so I don't have too much work to do with that. And if I get really clever, I'm going to record it, I'm going to record the screen flow and hopefully the audio, and next week's video might just be me editing the photo. Very excited to do this. Right, I'm done. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Please check out my blog, rickmcavoyphotography.com/blog. Also, why not try the Photography Explained podcast? It's my very own podcast where I explain one photographic thing in plain English in less than 10 minutes without the irrelevant details. Now, when I'm recording a podcast episode, I can't say that without reading off the page, but when I'm doing a video like this, I can remember it. Strange, isn't it? Anyway, enough waffle. I've been Rick McAvoy. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers from me, Rick.